So,
Yeah, get those going. Get those passed down.
And this is a meal? No. It is. It's like lunch. Would you like a Guinness lunch? A Guinness lunch. It's cold right now. All right.
Can you move the tablet forward like a foot?
Why am I doing this? What's up, Patty? There you go. Join the crowd.
There you go, Patty.
There you go.
One of us. One of us.
Nice. Cheers. Oh, thank you.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock. My only one. Yeah, we're on. Exactly.
There we go. Now, Patrice, just don't knock it, and it should stay like this to do.
Gloves, or gloves. Glasses would have been smart. All right. I don't.
Oh, nice, Russ. You made a real mess of that.
Okay, see, this is what happens when you have kids, so come prepared. I've got wet wipes too if you need them.
Yeah, we are kids.
Busting out what place.
Cheers, folks.
All right. Baltimore, thank everybody for being here today. Please join us in welcoming John McCrea and Russ Braun here to Baltimore. This is absolutely special.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Russ.
So, John, this is this is your second time to Baltimore? Did we catch you the first time in 2016 or is it third?
I think it might be my third.
Might
I think
be.
it might be my third. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
talk into this. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And then Russ, this is your debut at Baltimore.
This is my first.
Brother, it's great to have both of you here.
Welcome to the chair.
Popping chair. I know that you guys have worked a lot with Garth, and quite frankly, I don't want to lead this off by talking about Garth. You both have been in the business for just shy of about 3 decades.
I don't want to talk about it.
You both have such different backgrounds. So, John, why don't you start out with how you came into art, and then we'll move on to Russ because you're sitting close to me, and then Russ can go second.
Fair
Well, I
enough.
met Garth and we worked together.
Yeah, let's-
Go ahead.
Poopy head you. Russ. There's kids here, so no swearing, it seems. This is like an issue of Hitman where you have to desperately not swear all the way through it. This is it's going to be tough. So, I see beads of sweat running down my brow. It's because of that. My mum and dad bought me a copy of Avengers #8 when I was young, and I fell in love with the medium right there, and I turned and went, that's what I'm going to do when I grew up. And I was 4 at the time. So I just put my blinkers on and drew comics, drove my parents to distraction, because, I grew up in Belfast in Northern Ireland, and how the hell is somebody from Belfast, Northern Ireland going to end up working in American comics? I got to 18 or 19, dropped out of art college, it was crap. My friend and I opened Belfast's first comic shop, Dark Horizons, in the back of Good Vibrations Records. If anybody's seen the movie Good Vibes, about Terry Hooley, Belfast's punk guru, I used to buy my records off Terry, my punk records, and then Terry let me open my shop in the back of his shop. And one of our customers was a guy called Spit, Garth Ennis, and he would come in and buy Cerebus and concrete every that's what Garth was into, Cerebus and concrete, but very good taste, I've got to admit. Grudgingly, I'm going to admit that. And from there, he knew I was drawing stuff, some comics. I've done it again. I've upset the kid.
He's fine. He's fine.
He knew everybody who came into the shop who had aspirations of being a writer knew that I was breaking into comics. I'd done some little bits and pieces for British Marvel and for 2000 AD. Garth pitched me this thing called Troubled Souls about 2 lads in Northern Ireland during the Troubles and how it affected them. 2000 seemed to like it. Bought it off us, and there you go.
And
That's me,
that was
in a nutshell.
And so you taught yourself, and you started out, it was 96 pages of painted work?
It was, yes. I'd never painted in my life. I always just wanted to draw American comics, black and white American comics, so I had zero interest in painting. But there was this, Kent Williams, Bill Sienkiewicz, all those guys, Simon Bisley had created this need for painted comics. So I had to learn how to paint on the job. And I look back at Troubled Souls, and it's an exercise in pulling teeth. I think, you can see me sort of agonizingly improve as I go along, as each issue came out or as the book progresses. And I've painted a whole lot of comics, maybe 500 pages worth of comics, and I've hated every minute of it. So when I went to DC, it was just like, oh my God, at long last I can stop painting comics. And Archie Goodwin gave me a prestige format, fully painted comic to do. First thing I did, I was just like, oh God! And put a gun to my head and didn't shoot. Just didn't kill myself. So yeah, but once I got that done, I was no more painting. No more painting. Never again.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Happy
days.
And Russ, you're a New York native and went to art school in New York.
So I'm not self-taught.
Well, all the same. All the same. You got it.
Everyone is self-taught. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
Just whether you're guided or not by anybody.
And
I had a lot of great guides along the way.
Joe Orlando.
Joe Orlando
Oh,
was
wow.
my teacher. Well, I started out where you did. Like, got a Spider-Man comic when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And decided, just like you, that I'm going to do this for a living. I saw the Spider-Man cartoon, the Ralph Bakshi cartoon, 67. And then I said, well, where can I get this stuff? And they're like, oh, this is comic books. My dad was like Mad Magazine, big EC Comics guy. So he had like John Severin, Two Fisted Tales and stuff like that. That his father had thrown out. His whole locker full of like original run of Mad from 1 through like everything.
What
Just
his dad
when
took
he
him
moved out, put it out on the street and gone. So, but anyway, so yeah, did the whole thing. Spider-Man was my guy. Grew up in Queens, like I am Spider-Man kind of thing. And
We are all Spider-Man.
but then going through
That's what I hear.
that stuff, you get to art college and you realize, okay, now it's time to put away comics and get to like mature things and be a capital A artist. And although Joe Orlando wrote my recommendation to get into art college, my mother met his wife in a supermarket and said, oh, well, could you look at Russell's work sometime?
No.
And I went up there, terrified to see Joe Orlando. If you guys don't know who Joe Orlando is, he was worked on like the original Mad magazine. Him and Wally Wood were like partners in crime for the longest time.
And the pirate story in Watchmen.
Yeah, oh, exactly, very good.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
The
And the
pirate
pirate story in Watchmen.
Oh, wow.
interesting.
No,
Alan Moore
not
was-
really,
he's,
not
uh,
really.
It is.
Basically,
We're nerds it is.
Yeah, that's
Nerds.
important.
We're all nerds.
We are at a comic
Yeah, I
convention.
know.
That is very important.
the review I got from Joe was great, but at first he was looking through my artwork, and he wasn't saying anything at all. He was just smiling, which I thought was a good sign. Dead silent. And he looked up and he saw that I had like this terrified look at me. He's like, no, it's good, it's good. You know, he's like, the last guy that was sitting where you were sitting, I'll tell you the review I gave him. I looked at his stuff and I said, how did you get here? He's like, what do you mean? Like, how did you physically get here? He's like, I drove. It's like, oh yeah, you got your own car. Like, do you pump your own gas? And he said, yeah. You ever think about doing that for a living? So, that was the review. And so I got off pretty good compared to that. But anyway, so I went to art college with Joe and decided then, like the same stuff you're talking about, Sienkiewicz, and I mean, all this stuff, this is like mid-'80s, all this great stuff was coming out in comics, and I'm like, when I'm deciding to leave comics for like a mature illustration career or whatever, and I said, no, comics is like a high art medium now, beyond like, I still would give me a Spider-Man comic or something, I'd have been happy because. Kept going with that, and Joe Orlando said, come up, we'll get you some work sometime, and I went up to DC and kind of never looked back, 1989.
Oh, that's when I grew up in.
Yeah.
That's wild.
There you go.
That's wild.
Cheers, that was it.
That's 30 years for both of you then.
Yeah,
You don't look at it at all.
and yet I'm only 32 years old. Benjamin Button.
So, it was the Demon and Legends of the Dark Knight were the DC comics that you guys broke in on, or?
That was the biggest one for me. Demon was your first one?
Well, I did that Archie
Yeah.
edited Streets with James Hutno.
wow.
James, God rest his soul. Yeah, well.
I got to meet him. He spoke very fondly of you.
Oh, well, he was mad as a bag of lorries, but you know. But I loved James. I did love him. He was nuts. He moved to Vegas so that because the whores were cheaper. That's what he said. I mean, why did you move Vegas, and the whores are cheaper. Gotta have your priorities right, Jim. You gotta have your priorities right. That's class. Your class.
I want to toast things with that.
Yeah. You know who it's
All right.
There you go, Jim. So yeah, that was my first gig, and then, but you know, the DVD was the proper one.
Yeah, my first gig was actually a comic called Ford Fairlane. Andrew guys played movie?
Yeah.
We did the
Wow.
we did the prequel, like 70s disco era story. And I was supposed to just do designs, like character designs.
That's your dice.
I remember that name.
And the project
Yeah.
What a world.
hickory back and blah blah blah.
Has not aged well.
But yeah, the movie was supposed to be his launching pad for like a huge movie star career. And he had talent, you know, but I guess there were all kinds of controversies around him, more behind the scenes stuff, and that movie kind of tanked. It really wasn't that bad, but the who's who of people I got to work with on my first comic. Carmine Infantino did layouts for my pencils.
Wow.
And we had to draw 32 pages in 2 weeks. So I would get 6 pages from him at his apartment one day, and then I would go back and
You
draw
went to
over it.
Carmine's apartment.
Carmine would not step foot on DC property, so you had to go to him. And he lived pretty close to there, so.
Well, this is New York and
New York City, yeah.
And I'm imagining what Marvel and DC both had their headquarters there at
Yeah.
that time frame, so that
This
that
is
must
at the
have been
time when
like every-
DC had their headquarters were on Fifth Avenue at 666 Fifth Avenue.
Coincidence. That's just a random coincidence.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
what's drawing the demon for them.
So Joe would send me
Figure it
over
out.
to Carmine's, and I'd pick up the pages and draw them. Then it came back in and would be inked by either Frank Springer or Don Heck. They'd split the pages out like that.
Wow.
Who, yeah. So it's like, okay, I'll learn how to draw comics from the actual guys who created all the comics I ever read.
John,
Quite a team.
I'm sorry. When you were doing Hitman, you had, was it Gary Frank was your anchor?
No, Gary Leach.
Gary Leach. Beg your pardon.
No.
But you were doing like $2 a month, you were saying the last panel that we had. Back in the day.
Yeah, I was doing 2.5 books a month, actually. 2.5 books a month I could manage back then. But that was mainly penciling, and some sort of covers. But I was young and dumb, you know, yeah, it's just insane. I look at that now. It's meant that you think when you're younger that comics will get easier as you go along.
Yeah.
You know, you'll get used to drawing, you'll figure out that the head goes on the neck, and
Yeah,
the neck goes
yeah.
on the shoulders, and stuff like that. You know, get good at drawing, but it just gets harder,
Yeah.
and you get slower.
And yeah, they'll always
Why?
they'll always be able to draw the character exactly to recognize the character each time.
Sure.
It's like, that's the same guy. It's like, that's not the guy. I gotta
Absolutely.
fix that.
That's right.
I used to hate when I go to the comic shop and get that half comic book though. When you read it. You do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry
What do you mean?
about that.
I
You're
did
2.5
comics a month. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You're
I'm
reading
picking
on-
up what you're putting down. I'm sorry.
Page
There we go.
I know.
So,
I know.
you guys
I
did
did that for you, Russ.
You guys bring up a really good point. When you're drawing something over and over again, like I work on bikes, it's like a physical job. You move around the bike, you adjust the bolt, and frankly, I could fall asleep and probably do it because it's like muscle memory.
Okay.
But every single time you guys draw something, it's in a different pose, it's from a different light, it's a different scene. Like, do you develop a muscle memory for it, or is it every time you have to really think about it?
Well, for certain things, yeah, I think you have a muscle memory, but you always, well, I mean, most of us want to push ourselves a bit. You don't want to. You find yourself slipping into a formula, and you know, you can see it on artists like, well, Steve Dillon is a perfect example of the guy who's got the formula just nailed, or had the formula just nailed down. Steve, I went to Steve's house one time. There was a whole crew of us went down to Steve's, and he was working on Animal Man at the time for DC, and he needed to finish, like, I think he had to pencil 20 pages or something like that. And so he went to the lavatory for a shit and came out and he penciled 20 pages. It was unbelievable. It was just like, what? He just went in with a stack of DC artboard and a desire to do good. And he came out with 20 pages of Animal Man pencil. Wasn't the greatest work he'd ever done. Told the story. Steve was just like, yeah, that was, you know, I mean, admittedly, he was in there for about an hour or something. It was, I believe, a number 2. So, yeah, but, you know, you're just like, what the what in what?
Bars.
Holy Jesus, Steve. It's just unbelievable. He's like, right, pop. And you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and Steve's another connection between the two of us So
Sure.
he was the first guy I met in comics. And I said I've met all these legendary guys. Steve was the first guy I met. He came over with Garth for the convention in '93, I think it was. Who just treated me like one of the guys. You know, it wasn't like, you're a kid, what you're doing wrong is this, what you're doing wrong is this. And I talked to him about comics a lot, but he was like just the greatest guy, the nicest guy in the world, and just,
Yeah, he was.
you know, just like, hey, let's go have a beer and we'll talk about it.
Sure.
And, you know, he didn't know me from anybody, just sat down, you know, great guy, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to meet him 3 times.
Steve,
See,
God, miss him.
I got to meet him 3 times. He was without a doubt every time just very pleasant, very kind, very patient. He was signing Heroes once,
Yeah.
and everybody was getting Jesse or Logan because he was working in Origins with Daniel Way. And I said, "Could I get the Zippo from Preacher?" And I got this relaxed smile on him. He was like, "Yes." And I would love to take a break from this. Let's do it. And he nailed it. He did a wonderful job. I didn't. You know, Tuesday is October 20th. Is 3 years.
Yep.
Is there anything that you wish people spoke about more when they remembered Steve? Any anecdote that you could, like, that story was awesome. You know,
Well, I mean, there's a number of pub based anecdotes around Steve, but you know, I think that was a pretty good one.
But no,
You got one?
No, I mean, I've plenty of them, but
Yeah.
the ones I remember.
Exactly.
I met those guys because, and this is I guess, apocryphal according to some DC guys, and I wasn't supposed to say this, but when Garth and Steve came over, they put the editors through their paces, going out like long nights.
Sure.
I was a freelancer who was local, so I'd be in town. I'd just come down there and walk down to the offices. And it was either, I won't even name the names. 2 editors said to me, "It's the 3rd night, we can't do it. Would you take them out and give you the DC credit card?" And I was like, "Sure."
Really?
And it's pretty much like, I'd met them in the offices a couple of days before, but then we just went to the Irish pub.
Of
You know,
course.
It was just
The
drinks.
Barneystone, was it?
But, no, it
No, it was the
only
Irish,
Irish.
yeah.
The Irish pub was.
This was pre-Foley's.
And, yeah. So,
Garth and Steve's taste.
so and it ended up being like.
Well,
it was just the
Every
cheapest,
time it was like, oh, Foley's, oh, right.
cheapest Irish pub you can find.
McNally's.
Always is the worst.
no Danny Boy.
Foley's really, I mean, dear God. Do yourselves all a favor and never go to Foley's. You know, you might run
It's
into a
right
car.
behind the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've drank in that for 2 years in a row with you guys, and I kind of forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right across the
yeah, well, that would be the drink.
Damn it.
But yeah, no, so many times with Garth and Steve like that. So, and I spent more time with Steve because Garth was being wined and dined by the editors, and Steve wanted no part of that, and just go have a drink and wait for him. So 3 or 4 hours later,
Oh, man.
they would show up, Garth would show up, and we'd have a good time.
Sure.
But,
I don't know the Jesse and Jody fight or any of the Texas scenery. I don't know what I like most from Steve, but Preacher just, it stands the test of time. Stuff.
Yeah.
It's so clean, so
he was
beautiful.
my favorite work of theirs, for sure.
I mean, I'm a sucker for Steve's earlier work. I gotta say, when he was working for Warrior, which is a British magazine doing Axel Press Button, and some of his dread work, well, all of his dread work, but you know, some of his stuff, when he was really, Steve was really trying. I mean, the guy could just draw. I mean, he was a genius.
Self-taught at 16.
I mean, I remember
16,
Goose.
right?
Yeah, it started at 16. Yeah, his first published work was Hulk Weekly. I remember going to the corner shop to pick up my copy of Hulk Weekly #1. I was 11. Steve was 15, and he was in it. And it's just like 15 actually when he
Well,
snuck
that's
in.
the same thing with
It's
you.
like, what the hell?
He started to go to art college, and he was like, well, why am I gonna go if I'm already doing the job?
Sure.
So, why go to the school if you've got the job you want the
Yeah.
school for? Stay in school, kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Unless you're Steve fucking Dillon.
Yeah, no, just.
Well, you know what?
Do
That's
Not,
$1 million.
not many of
deal.
us are. I remember an interview with Alan Davis, where the interviewer asked Alan Davis, who was your favorite artist? And he went, Steve Dillon. And the interviewer was like, oh, that's really surprising. I mean, because you would think, you know,
Yeah.
it would be like Neil Adams or something. And Alan just said, minimum effort, maximum output. and that was the minimum effort, maximum output, and Alan admired the shit out of that. So yeah.
And the storytelling genius.
Oh God.
Well, welcome to the Steve Dillon panel.
Hey, I'd rather talk about
Hey,
Steve.
me too. Me too.
Go on.
But no, he was a storytelling master. He could just like, and you said he had like a formula going for his faces, but then just the slightest change, like the tweak of an eyebrow,
Oh, yeah.
and now there's that expression that Garth wanted. You know, Garth is like, he'll say, I need 3 expressions on this guy's face at once. So have fun with that. You know, like,
Garth got into writing. He shrugs, and why the hell do you draw a shrug in comics? Come on, Garth. It's a break here. How do you draw that? I don't understand. What, like seven frames? The bionic shrug?
now you're
I don't know.
like Disney days with the slogans and the shit.
Oh,
When you took a break from comics in the mid-90s
Yeah.
to do 7 years at Disney with Mulan, Lilo and Stitch, and Tarzan.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. Mulan's the greatest work of art ever done in Disney movies in history.
Mulan,
Mulan.
looking back, I'm probably proudest of Mulan as a movie. I liked working on Lilo and Stitch the best because I was on Jumbo, so Jumbo was just a lot of fun to draw. But no, that was when, I mean, I took a break from comics, or comics took a break from me, maybe, either way. But no, the first job at McCrea was like 89 through 96. And it was just kind of, I wasn't where I wanted to be. And work was slowing down. I was working on a big graphic novel with Jamie Delano. And the whole division fell apart by the time I was almost done with it at Paradox Press.
Oof. Oh,
So they did Road to Perdition and other things that became big movies.
Who was the boss? Who was that?
Andy Halford.
It was Al
Yeah.
Halford, wasn't it?
My good buddy. So.
Yeah, I love Andy.
And he got me to work with Jose on the Legends of Dark Knight stuff. No, so I left, I went to Disney. But Disney was just like attaching electrodes to your hand and using your hand, not your mind, not your creativity at all. It's like you go in there, draw everything exactly like everybody else draws it. And the only thing I took out of it though was that discipline that I brought back to my own artwork. So now I draw almost exclusively just with pencil, and I shoot for ink on that instead of drawing it 2 or 3 times. That's 2 or 3 times to get it wrong. You know, your first rough sketch is probably your best drawing. Then you tighten up the pencils, then you ink on top of it to be, anal retentive about getting it perfect. And by the time it's perfect, it's dead. So the characters are all just frozen. So I can keep a little bit looser now because of that Disney stuff. So at least there's that.
That is awesome.
The mouse gave you something.
Yeah. They called it Auschwitz.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That's brutal, but I believe it.
So I remember with our panel, John, you gotta hate what you do or you don't get any better. And
Yes, that's true, and I do.
when Russ was talking with like the discipline style, I know a lot of folks are digital. Have you guys changed how you've been doing business in the last 30 years? Is it just simple pencil paper and I'm gonna stick with that? Is it pencil paper, scan, Photoshop, edit, draw digitally?
It's a combination for me, you too.
Yeah. I mean, I always like to mix it up with, but I'm not a digital guy. I'm a computer moron, so it's I can use Photoshop to kind of tweak a bit, but anytime anything falls out of my comfort zone or something goes wrong, I'm on the phone to some smart person going, help!
Yeah,
What
almost
the
all,
hell's going on here?
almost all the drawing is done,
Yeah.
analog and then scanned in, and then I do stuff with it in the computer. But I don't have a Cintiq. I don't work on a tablet. I want to try that at some point, but it's like old dogs, new tricks kind of thing. But no, I work in a really crazy way. I take all the script, I take each panel and I kind of break it down in my head. I do a little thumbnail on the sheet, and that's my only thumbnail on the actual script page.
Yeah, I do that.
Then I start drawing the expressions and the poses I want. So I draw each panel like separately in a sketchbook, without worrying about size, positioning, whatever. Just kind of like the angle I want. Then I scan all the sketches in and build my layout in Photoshop. So I zoom in, zoom out. I've done a whole drawing of like a full character, like head to toe. Realize I only need their eyes, and I'll just zoom in on the eyes, drop it in there. That's the layout. Print that out to size, throw it in the light box, and do my finished pencil rendering drawing. And that's my finish. Scan it back in, darken it up, send it to the companies and tell them, yeah, get paid for pencils and inks. But it's still like 3 layers, but it would normally be more. I would then take that and ink it on top of that.
Yeah.
And that's too much work. So
Yeah, that sounds like exactly like my process. Maybe not quite breaking it down into all the individual panels, but I do draw stuff like willy-nilly and then assemble it on Photoshop. But once I've assembled all my roughs, I just go straight in ink.
Yeah.
You know, instead of penciling, I just go straight in ink and,
Yeah.
you know, make a complete balls of it. So, yeah, and then have to redraw stuff all the time.
Well, you guys are obviously here because you've seen some of our work, but your new inking style, like the way you've been working with ink is really amazing.
Oh, thank you. Cheers.
It's like, you know, it's still you. It's a growth. It's amazing kind of like pattern and texture that you use in it. So I'm a huge fan. I've always been a big fan. But no,
Thank
it's
you,
really,
man.
it's
I
really,
appreciate
really cool.
that.
So,
Yeah. I'm no Steve Dillon, but hey.
no one is.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
But yeah, going right to ink on that, because that's what Steve did too. Is we said pencil pages when he said 20 pencil pages. Steve's pencils were kind of like just like
Circles.
guides about
Real
where
life.
he wants things.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then he would just take his pen, go
Yeah.
draw like a perfect profile, and
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Because Steve always had things that he hated drawing though. One of the dogs, horses, cats, any
Did
animal.
dog Logan have
and-
anything to do with that then?
Maybe.
We can come back to that, I mean, stick with where you're going. but
anything he
that's-
had to reference. I mean, you gotta remember, when we're talking about, we started in the days when there was not the internet to go Google search your
God, it's that old.
It was like, I used to go to the New York Library picture collection. I had to draw an Animal Man issue where Animal Man like took over Washington DC. It was like all this Capitol building, Washington Monument. I had to figure out where these things were in relation to each other too. And internet would be like, that's like a half a day's Google search, you know? This was
I'm
like,
gonna interrupt you right now because I think it's season 5 of The Walking Dead. They're driving to Alexandria, Virginia, which is our backyard, and they're going through the mountains, and you see the Washington Monument, and like, no, they haven't learned that lesson either, because 1 and 2 don't equal 3.
well, that is the comic artist's job too, is to try and make it somewhat believable, suspend disbelief a little bit. You know? Don't draw pine trees in the middle of New York City, like in the background, just because you want to cover up something, you know? Draw a building. You know? But
Draw some crime.
But yeah, Steve didn't, yeah, just random crime. But Steve liked to just make things up out of his head because it's faster, and we both like that too. But you got to use your photo references. Like if you're going to draw cars, have photo reference, stuff like that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but the more they ask you to draw that photo reference, the more of a pain in the butt it is.
Yeah.
Or the ass.
Yes.
He's okay.
The,
He's heard that 500-600 times by now.
Steve did that Preacher Told the Saddle issue, which was all about horses, and I inked it, and Steve basically said, John, would you draw all the horses? You know, I just don't want to, you know, so I'd get these pencils, and there would be Jesse on a horse, except that the horse was just a circle. And draw the horse.
There were a lot of horses in that issue.
There were a lot of horses, yeah, absolutely.
But you inked over his pencils for that one, because your name's on the trade, and I looked when I
that was me.
took a look at that a couple months
Yeah.
later after I bought it, I was like, this really looks more like John. That's
Well, I mean, it was Richard. I wouldn't go
Not-
that far.
not saying that
I
it's
wouldn't go
Steve.
that far.
No, of course not.
It's still Steve. But yeah, I mean, I learned it. I mean, I did it because, well, I wish I wanted some preacher money, but you know, I also did it because I was going to learn a bit from inking Steve, and I did. You know, you just can't not learn from working over his stuff and really getting deep into what he's doing. But also, yeah, having to do the horses for him was fun. And I knew that when he did the big tank battle in the valley, Preacher, he got he got somebody else to draw the tanks. Glenn Dillon. I think he got.
Dillon, yeah.
I think it was Glenn. He got,
Yeah,
his,
Glenn.
he got his brother.
Brother.
He got his brother to draw the tanks in the. You know, 'cause he's just like. So Glenn drew all those. Yeah. So.
And I'm sure Garth would have been more picky about the tanks than the horses.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not a palomino, whatever the hell it was.
I've got the Panzer, but it's the wrong year.
Yeah.
I know. I will never do another war comic with Garth. Ever.
That was a joke in an issue of Dick's, where you two were written into the story. And then I know in the afterward for Fury My War Gone By with Garan Parlov pencils, they made a note that said Garan did great, but in this panel, this helicopter has 4 propellers and it needs to have 3 propellers. And what's it like doing a war book with Garth when you already have an editor involved in the process and you get what appears to be editor number 2?
It would be fair that there's really no editor when you're working with Garth.
Yeah,
Garth's the editor.
that's pretty much right.
Sorry, editors, you're,
Yeah, yeah.
you're absolutely not that.
It's true.
Like,
Oh, I'm not saying anything. No, I mean, this might go on the internet and then Garth might watch it. I'd love it.
Garth-
He's
Garth-
my best pal.
it's so much better working with Garth because you don't have the two masters to follow. It's just what Garth wants is what you do. The editors are just kind of
In
like,
life, I did
just,
art.
no, editors are just kind of like, yeah, we've read the script, we know it's perfect, you know, so, now just make him happy.
Yeah.
But
In
no,
life and in art.
it's things like that, like where, the war comics, I did the Night Witches with Garth,
Oh, yes.
Battlefields, which was great, and I loved it, and you know this is the one he cares about.
Sure.
You know, he cares about most of it, but the war stories are the ones he really puts his heart into, so when he asks you for a change in that, it's because it's important, you know, and, because you know there's gonna be that one person out there like, this is the wrong, this is a 24B, and it's supposed to be 24C. And you're like, oh, all right, sorry.
You've
You
seen
know,
them, not
He's
really
really nervous,
but his,
sorry.
you saw the letter that he sent into 2000 AD.
Yes.
Like, when he
Oh,
was
that's so
13,
great.
right, where
It
he's
wasn't
like,
2000, it was like battle or something
battle,
like that, yeah. or
this
war
tank is
lord.
this, but it should have reflected this tank,
Exactly.
and you put in the wrong
Yeah.
style tank, and I have a runaway son.
When you do your due diligence on it, and you still get it wrong, it's like the internet's fault. So it's like I drew these planes, Russian planes from the first series, and he said, you've got the right plane, but it's the wrong model, the wrong intake on the front. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh, yeah, you know, you're right. I looked it up on the reference searches, but they said that it was the P40B, it was supposed to be the P40A or whatever. So, and it was noticeably, I saw the difference once he told me about it, so I made sure to make the fix. But yeah, is it tedious? Yes, but no, it's right, and you want to get it right, and especially for stuff like that. The fans of war comics are the kind of fans that you want to have. I mean, they're the ones that love comics for comics, not just like, oh, this one's going to sell 1 million copies, so I want 50 versions of the.
The informal stock market, that doesn't really
Yeah.
work out that well.
Yeah. When, by the time I was doing The Boys with Garth, and I had been teaching, and one of my students, a guy called Keith Burns, was just this incredible war nut and aviation artist. And so I got Keith in and I did a Steve on him, where anytime there was a plane or a tank, I just went, Keith, draw a plane or a tank, the right one preferably. You know? And I just showed you. So loads of times I just drew, like the panel would be this, and I would draw this tiny figure here, and go, tank battle here, and Keith would just draw all the tanks and everything, and I'd just be like, cash the check.
Here's a really fun bit then.
I
you know,
didn't pay Keith. I
Okay,
didn't pay
no,
him.
no, that's
you know,
important. That is
I
important.
thought
And he's
it was
great.
fair to pay him.
He's done some great painted
Not much.
comics with it.
He's
But there's-
doing, did he do Out of the Blue with him? Am I
Yeah.
thinking the right? Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
He's a phenomenal artist.
But now I thought you were the one doing that for me on, there's one issue of the Boys that was an oversized issue, Boys 65.
65.
Right.
And I didn't even know they were taking some pages away from me, because it was like the deadlines were crazy. I came in and the Boys, like, it was already in doom space when I was doing it, so, like, we need this one in 2 weeks, can you do it? I'm like,
Someone, sure. Who else is credited for art in that one? Because it's the two of you. I thought there was a third
Probably
person.
Keith, because it's all these planes, so.
There's a lot of
They said,
planes.
Yeah, there's a lot
they
of,
were like, well, we
There were a
kinda-
lot of blank spaces
took-
in my artwork.
We figured we'd take the pages away from you that were tech heavy, and give those to John.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, I already laid out 2 of those, but that's fine.
I
And,
want- oh, man.
and then now you're, I was thinking of giving you all those kudos and thanks for saving my butt on that issue.
I did save your butt. By finding a guy who could save my butt.
I did. It's a great issue too. It's
a good one.
it's like one of my favorite ones of the whole run.
Oh, it's an incredible one.
It's
It
the
kicks
big
off
reveals
with
of everything actually.
Early warning and control, and AWACS is in fiction, and that's in the Air Force what I did for my branch of the service, and that just blew my F-word mind. That was so neat.
Well held there, by the
Thank
way.
you, thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, well, cheers,
Do we have
cheers,
any,
Keith Burns.
yeah,
Yeah,
Keith Burns,
yeah,
Keith
no,
Burns.
I'm not gonna drink the kid.
Okay.
I'm the boss there.
Do Do we have any lawyers here?
Uh-oh.
Great, outstanding, cool. All right. This did not happen, internet. 65, it looks like the head of Kyle Rayner is being blown up by all the jets that are coming in. And you look through older issues and Soldier Boy's funeral, and there's a Viking with a particular headpiece and red cape, and it looks like somebody that could be Thor. Well, it hurts, I'm not sure. And then, you know, when you go into Six Pack and Dog World or Hard Traveling Heroes, there's a buzz-cutted, goateed, green hoodie, coat guy walking around in Noonan's. It looks an awful lot like somebody that I could name. That one, that was fun. When it comes to Easter eggs, I know Eric asked you about Soapy Suds with the last panel and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
What stuff do you guys like to hide? Russ, you had an interview in the script details, I think, the freedom that the artist gets to have with all the background stuff, so it's not just two people talking, but it's two people talking in a restaurant. With
Yeah,
a line.
incidental detail. That's Jose
Incidental.
Luis Garcia Lopez.
Right.
It's like I was drawing the Batman stuff. I was already working over layouts by Trevor Von Eden, so I was adding all I could that was my own stuff. And then Jose would take what we both did and make it sing, make it actually work. So doing that taught me how to do the job. I mean, more than anything else. Like we would sit down in the offices and he would show me why he did it. He's a very soft-spoken, incredible gentleman. And but there's a scene where in the first issue of Batman Venom where there are these two thugs that are in this like seedy hotel room, and I drew like perfect perspective, which is what I cared about. The hotel room was in proper perspective. He's like, but now it feels like a shoebox, not like an actual room. So he put things in like little they would have like empty pizza boxes and crushed beer cans and a nudie calendar on the wall. He said it's incidental details that make it feel like there's a story here, not just properly drawn perspective. And I've never forgotten that. That's like one of the lessons I took from him. So, and that gives you a chance to put Easter eggs in there, so little stuff. Sure. And I love that. That's like, especially working for like things in the boys. You've got, you know, I have all these books in the background or like little comic books laying on the floor. I get to make up these characters just for fun.
Oh, what was the one?
Payback and oh yeah, well we probably shouldn't go into Shitfoot, but
we'll ignore Shitfoot.
but
Okay.
That sounds like a pretty good comic.
Shitfoot was my take on Sweet Tooth, so I'll admit it. And the legend dies on pretty much right on his face.
Yeah.
I put it where I thought rain balloons were going to cover it. But, I'd had a nightmare about it before, that I'd done like a parody of Sweet Tooth called Shitfoot, and that the comics press was talking to me only about that and ignoring all the other work. And they said, no, this is just a satire parody. And they're like, we think it's postmodern brilliance. And I'm like, no, you know. And so I said, I've got to put this in the comics somewhere. So
Artist
I told
nightmares
Garth,
are a little
I'm
strange.
going to throw that in there. And I've taken it away from like, don't blame Garth for Shitfoot. It's all me. So, and it's just a loving little poke, you know. That's Sweet Tooth.
It's funny though with Easter eggs, you've got to be careful with what you do, or you've got to, the editor's going to come along and scrub things out. Like in the first issue of Hitman, there was a room and I just filled it with full of movie posters, including things like Jaws and whatnot. It's all my favorite movies, and they just said you've just got to get rid of all the Jaws posters because you might get sued.
And DC actually has a legal department to look at that stuff. So
Yeah.
normally it's out there before you know.
Yeah.
I had a DC thing where I created like, just to have something on a shirt and a hat instead of this later. So I made up a fake band called Kathleen Turner Overdrive. And I just said they were like it was like a great feminist power trio, you know? So I did like a Kathleen Turner face with like KTO around it, you know? And they made me scrub it out. They were like in a Fables issue. It's just some guy picks up the Page Sisters and he's wearing the KTO thing. And they're like, is that a real band? We can't have that. I'm like, no, it's a made up band. Like, but it still looks like Kathleen Turner. So I just kind of like scribbled through it.
Yeah.
It was unrecognizable.
Yeah.
John, any Easter eggs you like sneaking in?
Gee, I don't know. Yeah, I do stick them in occasionally. I guess the latest one I did, I'm doing a book for Marvel called Yondu.
That's awesome.
That
That's
dude
awesome.
from the Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's flying around space, and he's got all his pizza boxes, and it's I put the intergalactic pizza, the Beastie Best pizza, because I love the Beastie Boys. So I want my intergalactic Beastie Boys sort of thing. Put that in there. And it just kept putting it in on all the pizza boxes, so hopefully one of them will get through. Hopefully one will get through.
I'm keeping fingers crossed.
Well, yeah, who
You had all
knows?
the
But you know,
birds.
pardon?
You had all the birds in All-Star Section 8, instead of the angry birds, the agnostic birds.
Oh,
the
God,
apathetic
yeah,
birds.
I'd forgotten about
If
that.
you could get away with that, I'm
I
hoping the
guess,
intergalactic pizza
yeah,
company.
they did let us, yeah, but that was DC. Yeah, that makes no sense at all.
Yeah,
DC
DC
would be,
harder than
you would have thought, but no, Marvel are all like Disney now, so.
Oh, that's right. They got a much bigger umbrella.
Yeah, so they're tough on that stuff now, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Hitman and Section 8 and things like that. We got away with so much crap that I don't, you know, and I look back on it now, and certainly I'm speaking for myself here, I think there's so much stuff that we got away with that you just wouldn't now. Hitman wouldn't really be the same thing if it came out now.
Yeah, you wouldn't even try to do it now.
I guess not, which is sad.
But that's the thing, is that when a book like that comes out, people respond to it because it's so much fun. It's like when the creators are having fun, it shows through on the book.
So we
people buy the book.
continually, like for Pete Tomasi and Dan Grants, we're sort of going, do we really have to have a bartender from hell who screams Beethoven as in the comic? That it doesn't fit. It just doesn't make any sense. Why not? He's like, because I want it there. It's just like, all right. But of course it did work.
Yeah, and that's good on him because he's always fought for his stuff, his ideas.
Sure.
You know, the editors like, I used to get notes from things like, can we have a cuter dress on her? And I'm like,
What?
I needed to draw this in like 2 weeks to get it in time. And it's like, is that really the editorial note that I need? So
Cuter
Garth
dress.
helped me, you know.
Yes.
There's no Garth to help you when I'm working with other writers.
When you're
I would just call him up anyway.
Just put a bump out.
just contact this company.
Tell them to leave me alone and let me draw.
It's like the bat phone with the Garth phone. Grab it.
When you talk about creators having the time of their lives, what's projects that you guys have been attached to that you absolutely just had the time of your life doing?
I think that, you know,
All of them.
you know, definitely not. Christ, some books have been.
We already talked about streets.
Yeah, you like that, and like every other painted book before that. But some, I guess, I really am enjoying Yondu at the moment. I gotta say, that's a real fun. I mean, it's a neo sort of Western in space and the seedy underside of the Marvel universe. So it's like basically me. That's what I draw. I mean, I remember saying that if I could draw a book that was called Dirty Alleys, sorry, but it really was about dirty alleyways, nothing else, not pornographic at all. That would be my perfect book, because that's what I draw best.
You
Like
draw them
thugs
really well.
beating the shit out of each other in dirty alleys.
It's like
That's
real
my thing.
Eisner looking stuff.
Yeah, you know,
I was-
only like filthier.
I had to
Ugly,
draw
yeah.
an alley scene in Six Pack and Dog World.
Oh, yeah.
I was jealous of your alley scenes from the also. It was like,
I give good alley. That is good. That is good. You got guys like Charles Bass, who's famous for trees, and then you got somebody else who's famous for something else, and I'm famous for alleys. Nice.
And carrot sticks.
And what?
And carrot sticks.
Oh, sure. Carrots and vomit.
Cannot
Yes.
go wrong.
Yeah, carrots and vomit. You know, but that's all part and parcel of a dirty alley. Big pile of vomit
Hand
in
in
the
hand.
corner.
Hand in hand.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. It's just me.
Russ?
I can't even think, like, I've enjoyed almost everything I've worked on, but there are different things. It's like the war stories with Garth were like, again, that was Night Witches, that was like personal stuff for him. I got more involved in that, I guess, so I guess even though it was harder, that's the stuff I look back on as more rewarding because it was done. The boys stuff too, some of the boys issues I feel like, at least if I just disappear tomorrow, at least that'd be like a footnote in comics history, was a couple of those issues of boys. So,
When
you know,
You're being a bit harsh on yourself.
I thought you did an incredible job, man. You did. And I look at, you know, Jimmy's Bastards is fun and hysterical. And I finally got my hands on the entirety of the Anna story, because you pointed me towards
yeah, they just put it out as a collection, Dead Reckoning.
Dead Reckoning, and they're through the U.S.
Naval
Naval Institute. And it's nice to see Garth attached to something formal for that.
they connected up we did 3 different story arcs of this Russian fighter pilot named Anna Karpova, made up but based on true stories of the Night Watches. And so it's like her story from the beginning of where she started the war and where she ended up much later. But, so it's an honor to have it all together in one volume. It's really a great volume. Go buy it.
No, it's great. I got 2 copies. It's wonderful. It's great stuff. How is Dead Eyes going?
It's going very good. Now, thank God, it's all the, I don't know if anybody knows, but I was doing a book called Something last year with Derek. I can't say the name because legally I'm not allowed to. And I was doing a book for Image with Jerry Duggan, and it was called One Thing, and then something happened that I can't talk about, and we had to take a year out to sort out all that stuff that happened.
Thank Kevin, you're back on track.
So yeah, so it's back out as of last week, I think, was it, or the week before?
The week before.
New York Comic Con.
Last week, but
Yeah.
2 weeks ago picked it up, and it just felt just happy.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to see it back on the shelf, and it was a year of sort of unpleasantness, really, while that got itself sorted out.
But
so
you
it's
did have the opportunity to do an issue of X-Men, of Uncanny X-Men.
sure. Marvel have been very good to me in the interim. I had 5 months where I had no work, and because I was sort of going, what's going on? I didn't. Can I get back to it yet? And it was just like, well, maybe next week, or maybe not. And it went on for 5 months, and eventually I said to Jerry, I need some money. I really do need to earn some money. Can you ask somebody at Marvel to get me some work? And Jerry, God bless him, got me a whole crapload of work at Marvel, including Yondu, I think.
You did like 5 covers?
Maybe more. I did 4 for
Marvel?
I did 4 for Death's Head, which was 4 issues, so I did those 4.
There was the comedy issue that came out like this past
Crazy.
month.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I did the big one for me was Conan. I did a Conan cover for Roy Thomas, who's back writing Conan, and I got to do a cover for it. It was like, and of course I froze up and made a mess of it because it was like so much pressure. I had to do it. I'd always wanted to draw Conan anyway. The fact that it was a cover for Roy Thomas Return.
That's incredible.
It's just like, it was just too much pressure, man. That's just too much pressure. I made a complete arse of it. But, whatever. So
you're going to have, 5 issues of Dead Eyes, you'll have Yondu, and then more Dead Eyes?
Yeah, more Dead Eyes. It's a 4-issue arc, the first arc, and then we do 2 months of skip month, McCrea comes out, and it's back on the next one. But I'm halfway through issue 5.
That's outstanding.
Yeah, so when they pulled the plug on us, I was halfway through issue 5. So it's, yeah.
Well, it's good to have
So
it
it's back, yeah. No, I mean, thank God. And some people say the new name's better. So I still haven't quite adjusted to the new name yet, but.
And call back to before, but I'm 100% honestly, there's some beautiful fucking alleys in that stuff.
I love alleys. I love alleys.
It's like the 5th and 6th page. It's the flashback, Dead Eyes in action, and you've got the long brick road, and a lot of it's in shadow, but it just looked like it.
Thank you very much.
That was beautiful.
You're very
Yeah,
kind.
the shadow work.
Admittedly, I have been busting my hump on this stuff, and I mean, when I talk about doing 2.5 books a month, back in the old days, I was maybe doing managing to get maybe 1.5 pages a week done. When I was I was ultra slow because I was just like, this has got to be the book, and it was I was spending far too long on it. It would kill me. But
Every now and then you got to do that.
Sure.
I know. You try to get maybe a page a day. Is the kind of
that would be the goal.
And then I've been as high as 4 pages a day a couple of times.
But you were high.
Yeah. No, well, the best, actually one of the best jobs I ever had, I did have to drink for it because I was supposed to make it look like a 14-year-old. It was an old man job where Cliff, his son, was drawing a 7-page book.
I remember that.
And it's called The Cannibal Kid with K's.
Yeah.
And so I said, should I draw it with my left hand?
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, I'll just drink half a bottle of Jack Daniels and just start drawing. And you do things like where
That sounds like a coping mechanism.
you have to write the and I did the lettering too. So I got paid for pencils, inks, and letters on it. It's like the best I've ever been paid for a job. And
And you
you
would
draw
cut.
draw the word balloons before you put the lettering in. So it's like
Oh yeah.
and then somehow
Wow.
put an arrow going to the wrong panel kind of thing. Like, no, you gotta go this way. It was a really fun job.
Do you have anything coming out, Russ?
Yeah, actually, I don't even know if it's talked about yet. That's the,
Well, don't get in trouble.
it's nothing like, really involved in like major comics. It's just, since I finished Jimmy's Bastards, I took a break from comics. I've done a couple of just small things for Ahoy. I love working for Ahoy.
Yeah,
They're a
you have
great
a panel
outfit.
with them tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm gonna be
Okay.
at the Ahoy panel tomorrow. And, did some Edgar Allan Poe stuff. I did a, Wrong Earth, prequel kind of thing for a free comic book day.
Okay.
But I've been waiting for this project that's more like to scrub my soul from working with Garth for so many years. Good for my karma. Nah, just, but no, it's like a humanitarian effort. There's this chef, Chef Jose Andre, who does disaster relief.
Yeah, he does a
for,
lot of disaster relief.
Great works around the world, and I'm gonna help work on a graphic novel of some of his stories with Steve Orlando.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It's not official yet, but it'll be starting next year. But I've waited a year for it, so again, like it's kind of a killer when you don't have the regular paycheck. You know, you used to be in like a kind of a guy who humps
Steady
it out
income.
every week. You just get a comic done every month, and then to have nothing for a while. You know, I've been doing more conventions and enjoying it and meeting people and accepting more conventions and traveling a bit.
Walk
So,
this guy down.
yeah, yeah.
Please grab the next.
but yeah, so that'll be my next thing, like big thing. I'll probably do some small stuff in between now.
That sounds phenomenal.
Well, something good for the world, I hope. I don't know.
Kind of balance the
'Cause
karma scale.
honestly, Jimmy's Bastards, I love it, but there was a point in it when it's humorous, but it's got some darkness in it that really kind of like left me in a bad place. So. And then you have to hope that it gets made into a movie or something, because it's like, oh, this is great, because I own this one, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well, none of us want that movie made of our properties, do we? That would be, you know, selling out to the man or something.
oh yeah,
Yes, we don't want that.
You make an
It's the big man money.
you make an interesting point. Are there characters that draw you in emotionally when you're drawing them? Like you're sort of invested in their story as you're putting them on you know, ink to paper, as you will.
for me, almost all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you've got any attachment to the story, and if it's a good story and a well-written character, then you're gonna sort of put. I mean, the Dead Eyes thing, the characters in that, the two main sort of our lead characters. It's a really human story, and they're really lovely people, and I just wanted, you know, it's just one of those things where you want to be their friends.
Yeah.
You know, it was the same with Hitman. I just wanted to go to Noons and have a drink with the guys in Noons all the time because they were such, obviously scary, but really nice characters. You know, that
You
you
get
thought
past all the
would be-
hired killers.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
they were
exactly,
wonderful.
yeah. But
characters.
you know, you go to the bar with Tommy and knock back a couple.
Absolutely.
Cracking to it.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll go down a nerdy road here. So people play D&D or role-playing games. You get attached to your character, and then something happens to them, they die, and you feel like you lost a friend.
Sure.
You know, you might have to draw somebody that you care about dying in a comic book, like somebody you've been drawing for a few years, and he's got a bullet through his heart. Yeah, exactly.
Flash, they
What-
all die.
You know, and then so I read a lot of comic books where you see people lying dead, and there's just like a lot of emotion there, a lot of hurt. It's just like, you know, the last scene in Hitman, for example, is a
Oh,
painful one.
when I got this, I always read the scripts in the toilet.
Yeah.
When I got the scripts through from Garth, and they came through the fax machine.
Mhm.
And the good old days.
Sorry.
And I was weeping openly at the end of Hitman on the toilet, which is a really bad one.
I think it was The Boys 7.
I drew that scene in The Boys, actually.
Did you?
Of
Me
Huey,
weeping?
Huey weeping on the
Oh
toilet.
yeah. I'll be.
I think it was
Again,
the
we
Boys
work with
70 though, and
Yeah.
and they find the bomb, and Frenchie just puts a hand on the female and
Mm.
from I love you
That's
from the first. Was it 69? It was 69.
8. 68, no, 69, you're right, 69.
That was. There's a few times I think I've really just like yelled at a book, just yelled out loud at a book, and I just got to that page and just told them no. I was in the car, top of my lungs, and you turn the page. It is what it is. And I read
Spoiler
Hitman every
alert.
6 months, and I cry like a real one. But just
Yeah, no, you get attached to all the characters, you know. But I love those two particularly. But it's weird for me, the one that affected me more was MM. Because it's just a line that Butcher says when he's like, he's talking about, you're the best friend I could have had, you know. Anyone could ever have. And he's like, but I ain't got any friends. But it was just like, how could you do that? You know?
Who, for both of you, I want to plug this as best I can. What character would you want to work on, and what writer or inker, what art team would you want to work with that you haven't had the opportunity to work with? I know both of you are big Spider-Man fans. John, you've had more of your time with Spider-Man was spent sad, 3 good issues and then 5 Confederacy of Dunces issues.
I don't like to talk about that.
No, I got you.
You did the 1,000 though.
Yeah, that was a good
The
one.
3
That was-
pleasant issues and then the
Yeah.
5.
Oh,
Not
Yeah.
so pleasant. Yeah, God, Russ, do you want to go
I
first?
just thought Spider-Man. I mean, I probably should go for that at some point. But I know drawing Spider-Man would take me like a week of a panel, you know, to get exactly right, you know. So
Sure.
I would either like choke and never get it done, or just have to just let it go. That's the thing about our job is you have to just it's 6 drawings for each page at least, like 6 panels. And so you can't draw the whole book at once. You have to draw it 1 panel at a time, 1 page at a time.
Right.
So I would probably, maybe Spider-Man. I'd love to get back on Batman again from something like, I'll go for the big ones, right?
Sure.
Spider-Man, Batman, and Swamp Thing. Those are like the ones I would do. But more like I'd just rather do something of my own and get it out there, you know, just for fun. But of the characters people know, those are the 3 I would get back to.
Yeah.
Monsters of any kind.
I'm a total Marvel Z-list character nerd, so any of the Marvel horror books, I would love, Dracula or Morbius or the Werewolf by Night. I love all that crap, and just like Iron Fist, and we were talking about a few. The Jack of Hearts. For some reason, I'd really like to really punish myself by having to draw the Jack of Hearts. I was talking at breakfast with a couple of guys about this and saying, yeah, I'd really like to draw the Jack of Hearts, even though I know that I would hate every minute of it because of that costume. I mean, only a sadist would design that. George Perez.
Nicest man in comics.
Yeah, but a sadist. I mean, obviously, it's just like, you have the front, the nice front, and inside a bubbling, seething
Everyone will
sadist
have to draw this costume for the rest of
their
their lives.
lives.
This costume's never changed in comics.
No,
No,
never
of course
changed.
not.
Yeah. So yeah, weird like shit like that.
I hear you talk about the horror stuff, and I know that the breakfast cereal story that we just want Russ to make. That would,
I just did that interview with Frankenstein Friday.
yeah,
I do
yeah,
this
with
thing on
Kelly.
Facebook. Every Friday I draw Frankenstein. Started as a joke, and now it's kind of like a life sentence. So for 4 years, every Friday I draw Frankenstein, some kind of Frankenstein. So
I meant to
You're
bust
some
this out
kind
earlier.
of
yeah,
Frankenstein.
you run out of Karloff imagery, and you kind of do whatever. And so
So
you
this
do
didn't
the
happen
bride.
in time.
Oh, Frankenstein
Um,
on a
Oh,
bone.
that's lovely.
Our friend Harry, and it's her birthday today. I asked
Oh,
her to
happy
do some
birthday.
Frankenstein cookies for us.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I sent her some stuff of what Russ had done,
Uh-huh.
and she put it on a projector and did sketches of Russ's Frankenstein and Frankenberry's for these
Frankenberry,
cookies.
yeah. So Frankenberry became the one I would like the go-to one to like do something quick on Friday morning. And I ended up started drawing Frankenberry as like basically the Hulk, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then came up with a whole story around it. But I was actually to the point like then I took the break from Jimmy's Bastard and said, I'm going to pitch this story to Ahoy because I've been working with them. They do like some real humorous type stuff.
Yeah.
And then it turns out Mark Russell was doing Frankenberry and Crown Chocolate in his stories
Well,
at.
can you still tell that story with the Hoy? Can it just be separate? Can it,
Oh,
10
sure,
years
I'm
prior
sure
to
it could,
that
but
other
I don't
movie?
want to have to compete with anything, so I'll keep it. I'll keep it to
Wait,
myself.
someone beat you to the Flakenberry comic?
Yeah, I mean, who knew? Huh?
I would have never expected that.
I thought you made Frankenberry up.
No, it's a real
I know
breakfast
nothing
cereal.
about this. It's a breakfast cereal.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
We don't get that.
American breakfast.
Yeah, okay.
There's a count too who's
We
made of
only,
chocolate.
we only get it now at Halloween. Now it'll be out in the stores. It's like not in like regular circulation. It's a terrible cereal.
Oh yeah, it's
But good for you.
And discontent, but that's.
All cereal.
But yeah, I was gonna do like this whole, like, Count Chocula is like this aging vampire who's losing his actual immortality, so he's gotta feed people full of chocolate to get their blood sweet enough to get any nourishment from it. So, he's like the mad scientist who creates the beast. He's trying to find ways to get his immortality back, so, through any means necessary. So he does like the whole Frankenstein experiment out of like, vegetable flesh, like through this, like, in this infused big pipe with, strawberry liquid that makes Frankenberry, you know.
This is sounding like an episode of Hard to Duck.
It's,
It really is. It sounds like a Hard to Duck comic written by Steve Gordon. You know,
could be, Dr. Bond could show up. and-
Sure,
yeah.
exactly.
Just throw in like an old one in there. Just have some ancient evil mixed in with the berry juice.
They're all in there though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we got Blueberry in there too, and, they're never named, so I would get away from it, with General Mills. I was gonna put a character in it called General Mills.
Oh my god, angry guy.
Just not too obvious, huh?
Yeah.
Don't make it too obvious, right?
But,
Well, we got about 3 minutes. What do you guys want to talk about that hasn't been discussed?
Ah, you just asked the questions.
yeah, so did,
We're not asking ourselves, or does
we have
anybody
any
have a
nasty-
question?
yeah.
Anyone got any questions for us?
All right.
Nope.
Seeing Amanda Connor and Steve Dillon tackle the characters from the Cauldron, tackle Six Pack,
Oh, sure.
and all of them with the coverage that they did for recent visiting All-Star Section 8 and then for Dog Welder. How cool was that? I mean, obviously, Steve, the timing with Steve, being able to fit him in, and at the same time, when you were writing your one issue of Judge Dredd and how you were able to move Steve in the back of that book, I mean, it's, the timing was, at the very least, you had that opportunity to both of you take that into your hands and memorialize your friend.
Yeah.
But on a lighter note, seeing him do those characters, seeing Amanda have her fun with Six Pack, what kind of reactions did you get out of that? What were your reactions? to those
Well, I
seeing
mean,
those covers?
they're both fantastic artists, so it was just, you know, and Russ doing the follow-up, it was just, I was just happy that the characters were in such good hands. You know, I mean, you did a better job than I would have anyway, so that's fair enough. You know, Constantine and the Silver Surfer
And the
before,
space
helmet.
just some of the space element was just, I was just like, yeah, you did that better than I did. I would have done it, so, you know, it's, no, it's great. It's great. It's nice to, you know, just take a back seat and see proper professionals,
Yeah.
you know, actually do the work.
So it'd be nice, I've never seen anybody do anything with
Johnson.
my own characters. Well, yeah, he did the cover, that's right, for Jimmy's Bastards, yeah, so. And those were great covers. I like the iconic kind of look to the first cover especially, but,
Well,
yeah,
Dave's
no.
amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. But no, it's, the Steve Dillon thing though, was like, that was the only time I got to work with him. That was his last job, really. I mean, doing the covers for Six Pack and Dog Welder. I did, the last one, I did the sketch of the hand holding the little Dog
The
Welder
tinfoil.
tinfoil guy from like Blade Runner. And, so he was
Forgot that
like,
was a Blade Runner
so
reference.
he was just kind of like